Tennessee and Syracuse kicking off their seasons Saturday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta with Patrick Brown. I'm Ryan Callahan for GoVols 24/7. Patrick, this is an interesting game. Tennessee and Syracuse have played a couple times in recent memory, but the last one was almost 25 years ago. One, of course, when Tennessee started its 1998 National Championship season with a trip to Syracuse, the last one in 2001. This time they're facing Syracuse kind of at a bad time. They're coming off a 10-3 season last year. They've gotten this program back going under Fran Brown. Interesting matchup, but a lot of unknowns about this Tennessee team coming off a college football playoff appearance last year. Will they be similar to what we saw last season, or is this team going to drop off like some people are kind of expecting?
Yeah, Tennessee fans probably take the two seasons that happened after the last two Syracuse matchups. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee's got a lot of unknowns. I think 8 new starters on offense. That's where a lot of the questions lie for me. I think Tennessee will still be pretty good defensively. We talked to Tim Banks earlier this week. He likes this group. He thinks they're really young and hungry. Obviously, they've got a lot of veterans and returning players there. There's always unknowns, though, for coaches about what their teams are going to look like. You think you've got a good idea of what you're going to look like. And for Tennessee, I kind of tend to think they might still be kind of a defense-first, run-the-ball kind of team. That we've heard a lot this preseason about the offensive line coming together, a lot of new starters. We talked to Lance Hurd this week. I asked him, what is this offensive line like? His first word he said is violence. So they got to go back that up on Saturday, of course. And but certainly this running back room, I think, is shaping up to be pretty good too. Maybe Tennessee can lean on that offensively early on as they get some of the new components of the passing game, obviously with so many young wide receivers, a new quarterback in Joey Aguilar. Once they get those things going a little bit, while they get those things going a little bit, maybe the run game and defense can carry them early in the season.
Syracuse, an equally tricky team to get a feel for because they lost so many key players from last year, including quarterback Kyle McCord. They get Steve Angeli, the Notre Dame transfer, in the transfer portal to fill their need. They got him after spring practice. Tennessee, we thought, might look at Angeli, and they did not. Went with Joey Aguilar from UCLA instead. But Syracuse, a tough team to read, and coming off a 10-win season, they've got a really tough schedule. Hard to imagine them duplicating that this year, but could this be a trickier game than people are expecting? Tennessee's been about a 2-touchdown favorite, but it's hard to know what to make of Syracuse.
Yeah, Syracuse is, I think, picked 12th in the ACC. They're playing all 4 of the playoff teams from last season because they also play, in addition to Tennessee, they play Clemson, SMU, and Notre Dame. I think that's right. So, all the components of last season's high-flying offense. Kyle McCord led the nation in passing. He's in the NFL now. His top 3 receivers are gone. 2 of them are in the NFL. One of them went to Penn State, I believe, in the spring. New running back. Some new pieces on the offensive line. So what are they going to look like? I think that's a big question, but Fran Brown came in there and, you've got a winning kind of culture and attitude there already. So that's going to make this game tricky. And I kind of point to Fran Brown as maybe the tricky part of this because he comes from Georgia where he was under Kirby Smart. We know how Georgia has had Tennessee's number in some of those Kirby Smart, Josh Heupel matchups. So I don't think Fran Brown by any stretch will have Georgia's talent up there in Syracuse, but and his defensive coordinator was at Texas A&M too. So there's a lot of familiarity with how to prepare for this Tennessee offense. And then they've also had the entire offseason to prepare for it. So Tennessee, Josh Heupel touched on this earlier this week, you've got to be ready for anything and be able to adjust. And that's on both sides of the ball too, because we touched on the offense, a lot of new personnel, schematically and stylistically, they might look a little different than what you've prepared for. So I think Tennessee has to be able to communicate and adjust. players have to communicate what they're seeing. Coaches have to communicate changes that they need to make during the game. That's going to be sort of the chess match of this game once you get past the one-on-one battles and who's going up against who.
And a lot of eyes, of course, will be on Joey Aguilar in his first start at Tennessee. Of course, you're gonna if you're tired of hearing the name Nico Iamaleava, get used to it. You're going to hear it in every broadcast this season, but certainly during Saturday's game, you will hear it a lot. That's going to be a big storyline. He didn't have a lot of time with his starting receivers during preseason camp, but it seems like there's a lot of confidence that he is a steady hand, a veteran, a proven guy at Appalachian State that can at least lead this offense. What should we be expecting for him in game 1?
I think if you're Tennessee, you want a clean game. You don't want to see a couple interceptions, football on the ground. You want to see him make good decisions, run the offense really well. You don't want to see them snapping the ball, maybe going too fast at times if they're trying to go the tempo. Make sure he's got to make sure everybody's set. You don't want to see even delay a game penalties where he's trying to make a change late or something. So I think you want to see a clean game, and that's another storyline in this game is that you've got these 2 veteran transfer quarterbacks. You touched on Angeli early. He didn't play a ton at Notre Dame. He was the backup to Sam Hartman and then Riley Leonard, but when he's gotten in, he's done a pretty good job. I know he came off the bench sort of in a pinch in that semifinal game against Penn State, led a field goal drive. He started the Sun Bowl 23 season to cap that off. I guess Hartman had opted out, and so had most of Oregon State's team, but he still lit them up anyway. That Jermon McCoy had already left that group by then. But so he's been productive when he's gotten in. Obviously Aguilar is one of the active leaders in total offense in the FBS from 2 productive seasons at Appalachian State. So which of these new guys that just got to these campuses and these programs and these offenses a couple months ago can settle quickly with somebody new pieces around him? I think it's a fascinating part of this matchup. And I think if you're Tennessee, this, like I said, you kind of want Aguilar to go out there and not manage the game, but just kind of do what it takes to win, because these games are tricky. They're unknowns. Tennessee, I think, has some advantages in this matchup, particularly along the line of scrimmage. But it's still a game where if you make a bunch of mistakes, which if you watch the Kansas State Iowa State game, there were a ton of mistakes in that game. Obviously played in the rain in another continent, but you've got to kind of avoid the mistakes that can get you beat in a game like this. So I think that's what Aguilar needs to do first and foremost.
Tennessee won its last time at Mercedes-Benz Stadium against Georgia Tech. That one turned out to be a nail-biter.
Tennessee, I don't want that season, though, after that.
Yeah, that season didn't go so well after that one. Tennessee hoping for a different season and a different type of outcome, maybe not such a nail-biter this time around. But kickoff noon Eastern time, Saturday in Atlanta. We'll have the coverage for you on GoVols247.com. For Patrick Brown, I'm Ryan Callahan.